It is not clickety-click architecture, but it is a process which virtually took us to United Nations headquarters. We as architects, we design for the 10% all over. There is a huge 90% where our services don't reach and we are not part. Depth of the democracy is decided by the width of the footpath in a city. That's extremely democratic because the street is taken always, it's the artery of the city. And these arteries, literally right till the lanes, are the public spaces where we spend most of the time.
Because I think this has been a project which has been really noticed and all of that.
My office is nearby and I drive here and I stay nearby to this space rather. This was not this kind of urban realm. So there was a huge board which was put up in the corner, typical political board where a husband and wife photograph was up, and in Marathi it was written 2 crore che rastyache nutanikaran, beautification of the street of 2 crores.
Okay.
So I saw that board. I said this has been 2 crores is being spent for beautification. This was almost a decade ago. I knew the politician of this area who is the corporator. I called him. I said, Dada, aap ye kar rahe ho, so I would like to show you how it can be done well. So I went to him and I gave him a 45 minutes presentation saying that this is the way it could be done. Whether he was interested, not interested, I didn't stop and I gave him a talk. I said, this is it. And to my surprise, he said, Acha, so let us do this. Everyday meetings, we had the politician, the police, the citizens, the engineers, every day on the street, literally doing it direct, no working drawings. Interesting part of this is that during this time, one of the evenings, my society, which is on the street itself, there was a meeting, and this meeting was going on, and they were talking. Mrs. Gupta is talking to Mrs. Agarwal. Mrs. Agarwal, देखा है वो बाहर कॉर्पोरेशन के लोगों का दिमाग खराब हो गया है, इतनी चौड़ी फुटपाथ बना रहे हैं. हाँ, मैंने भी ये नोटिस किया था. हमें तो कंप्लेन करनी चाहिए कॉर्पोरेशन से. I kept quiet. I didn't open my mouth. My society would have thrown me out if I am the designer. They would have come to know. So the war begins at your house, in this kind of projects, and then people realize what is happening.
Do they come and thank you for actually increasing the property values over here?
Yeah. This is there. In fact, first compliment came from Mrs. Kulkarni after 1 month. She comes and tells my wife, this footpath has become very nice. Now my wife has changed her stand. She says, mere husband ne kiya. Suddenly she says that. And yes, I must tell you about this. These truck walas which are coming and standing over here. The politicians and the people wanted, this is nuisance, we must take them out. I said, why? In the morning there are no shops open. They are doing their business, inclusive that we are talking about.
Right.
And believe me, all these Mr. Marne and all who are there, they used to water these plants. I've seen them watering the plant. So if this belongs to them, if city is yours, you start taking care of it. And if spaces are designed, then they start getting adopted.
Right.
If it is not designed, if there is left,
so hats off to you for actually trying to change now. So hopefully we'll see this across the country now.
The schools of architecture, I think, should become the catalyst in it. And it is the young minds there who need to be really channelized into this activism. If you look at the projects of NASA, the students take up 90% of the project when they want to demonstrate at NASA, they are urban realm projects beyond the boundary.
Right.
What does it tell? That students and all human mind is concerned about the city, and architects in particular are concerned. They need to be channelized. And 32,000 architects who will become urban designer, landscape architect, they can't be outside. They have to be inside the system. And I only hope that the government creates this opening, parallel opening. The engineers do the execution, and the architects, urban design, they do the design, and they all report to the chief secretary and the chief minister.
Yeah, so the visualization should be by the architects like all other things.
And I think now 30 years, 40 years down the line, at least urban design is recognized now.
So after completing urban design, what was the kind of work you did? Did you end up doing architectural work more or landscape work more, or did you actually do urban design?
No, completely different. So our journey post passing out is of only competitions. Okay. Because we had no contacts, no bureaucrats where we had these roads, and to get work, how do you get? या तो आपको बंगले मिलेंगे, interiors in Delhi were not really happening, and to get projects is very difficult unless you have something established. So we said we will do competitions, and we did in 10 years my journey in Delhi. we did around 12 competition. We means myself and Shastri. And out of 12, we won 10 of them.
Okay.
10 of them. So after Oshiwara, we did Nehru Place Commercial Complex in Jaipur, and we were also to be awarded the project. And we were called, we were told that, okay, this is there and you start. Now we have not built anything. Now imagine this, we have not built anything except few interiors in a corporate building called NDMC. We used to go for the meetings wearing specs, 0 number specs, so that we can look elderly, you know, and so that they can think, oh, they have some experience, but obviously it didn't really help. And they said, this is the lump sum fees that we will pay you. You want to take it, you take it. We said, but we must be paid as per Council of Architecture. Mr. Doshi and Mr. Uttam Jain have been on the jury. So this is what we should get. They said, no.
Do you see that story happening even today? Is this
I
the
think
story
it is there.
in a big way?
It is a big way actually. But what I am always trying to say, there is always, the times have that way not changed. And at times you have to be very lucky to get it that way. So we picked it up at that whatever piece. And we had no employees, we used to make our own drawings, no computers, so you have to make your own drawings, draft, working drawings. We put in our 1.5 years, 2 years of hard work, and this whole building was built.
Okay. So today I think you're also involved in a lot of ways with the whole smart city movement, and India is a huge country. It's a very varied, every location has its own little story. In that, when you talk about smart cities, do you see that can one size really fit all, and if not, then what is being done about it?
See, the smart city thing, when it is started, first of all, I have some, basic thing, what is smart city. Right. So I think urban design is caring for the city, you're looking at the city. And unfortunately, architects are not part of this in the public domain. Architects have always remained to a certain extent within the boundary. I call it within the boundary. We have a plot, this is my plot, I am building. Now outside the plot, what is happening in the city is extremely critical. So in urban design, we worked here, we kept on working. The JNNURM scheme was also there. So that was also actually urban design. It was caring for the city. So obviously when the whole regime changed, the whole wrapper is smart city. And then we never put the smart city into our presentations.
The story has been the same. But,
story has been the same, but it has made a difference. I will tell you what is the difference. We are also skeptical. We have smart city to wrapper badal diya. So in our presentation, we never used the word smart city. Okay. And then we thought that we are not in the main realm because everybody is talking about smart city. So we put the word smart into our presentations. But what has happened in the last 5 years is the word smart city has brought cities in discussion.
Right.
This is the biggest change. The other thing that has happened is because they have listed these cities, 100 smart cities, etc., etc., etc. There is a huge competition which has started. And that also we thought, because as you have asked, that is it the same medicine for all the cities? Obviously it is not. So when we are discussing with the ministry and top officials, informally we are saying, sir, we must have a system by which this works and etc., etc. How you handle this, because India is so diverse and it has to be localized. Climate is different, culture is different, context is different.
So at least we're getting somewhere in the discussion.
Yes.
And when we're talking about smart city, is it really an inclusive growth that we're looking at? We see a lot of technology being there, but we don't see that much participation of the architects, who are also very, would play a very important role actually, or you'd expect them to. Do you see, what is your observation of that?
Yeah, that is true to a certain extent, that architects, urban designers, I keep on saying that who are the doctors of the city? Who are the doctors of the city? And the doctors of the city have to be architects, urban designers, landscape architects, planners, geographers and all this team which should be put it together, economists. But the doctors of the city currently are, and they still remain, are politicians, bureaucrats and the engineers. This is the whole thing. The Government of India in the mission has put architects, urban designers also, and it is trickling in, but it is trickling in very slow, very, very slow.
I see you participating in a lot of activity where you're trying to build up awareness, knowledge, the entire gamut of things to actually wake up people probably.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Those 20 years I am talking about, we have walked in the Pune Mula Mudha river with Bandhanatai Chauhan, along with all others, Parisar and all. So we've been always looking at the city like that, and we have spent that time with this kind of activism. An architect has to be an activist, then only you will get that respect in the society. You know, if you generally ask me, what kind of a respect does the architect have in the society? Because we are into the realm of our own domain. We are doing interiors, we are doing bungalow, we are doing corporate offices. These are very individuals. Our role with the society is not there. So with that, you have to get into this activism, and you have to spend a lot of time there. And in this, we say that either we start top down or we do bottom up. For us, it has been always the bottom up. So with the people on the street or in the areas, discussing with the people and then giving solutions. That doesn't mean that we exactly recommend what they want, but I think it works out the best way. And our main journey in this public domain to success started with actually JNNURM, where there was a scheme called BSUP, Basic Services for Urban Poor.
Right.
So this scheme was announced, and this was for the urban poor, a slum rehab scheme.
I've seen some of the photographs and some of the discussions around that. That was, I think, a lot of participative design that you actually included the end users.
And it was very interesting. This politician would start and he would declare, he said, I have got this scheme for you from Delhi. ये दिल्ली से मैं आपके लिए लेके आया हूँ, आपके भले के लिए वगैरह वगैरह वगैरह, और आपके मकान 1 महीने में बनना शुरू हो जाएंगे. Shocked, 1 महीने में बनना शुरू हो जाएंगे? But he would declare it. He said, what is he saying? Then Mahila Milan would explain, and then my team would explain all the design. They're very interesting photographs. Sometimes this would happen in a street, sometimes it would happen in a temple, sometimes it would happen in a Baratghar. And ladies were at forefront. Yes. Ladies, women were on forefront, and all they would listen. And after that, we gave them these slips, referendum slips. And the referendum came to us. Now, what was the referendum? Whether independent house or a building type was the main thing. 90% opted for the independent house.
Okay.
Now, who is going to tell Dada this? The Dada had said that I don't want these small houses. I want the flat type. This is what the people want. So we told Dada, ऐसे this people have said. So he suddenly said, मैंने भी तो यही कहा था. I had also said the same thing. He said, okay, fine. That means we are on the same page.
Right.
We are on the same page. Let us start. And then the journey started. But I must tell you, during the journey, we found corporation extremely cooperative, and we got some officers who were with this. So people, and particularly architects and all of us, are very skeptical to get inside the system and work.
Right.
And I've been always saying that if you want to serve the country and if you want to serve the urban design and the domain, you have to go inside the system. You can't be on the periphery.
I was just about to ask you, would this be a discouragement for someone who wishes to do, a little more? How much, how did it test your patience actually?
Beyond all limits. Patience, all limits. But I must tell you, I have an absolute young team. Young team of architects, young team of trainees. So we kept on doing this. It is not clickety-click architecture. If you ask for some great photographs, we have no great photographs. But it is a process which virtually took us to United Nations headquarters, where this was displayed, and it was selected by Smithsonian Cooper Hewitt Museum as a part of a global initiative where there was a book and an exhibition held which was said designing with the other 90% cities. So we as architects, we design for the 10% all over. So there is a huge 90% where our services don't reach and we are not part.
So I think you have a strong role to play in feed as well. I think that was started by architect Kanvinde. What is it that you do in
these kind of things happen out of some kind of an incident or something. So feed was born out of frustration, I must tell you.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in Delhi. We had won a lot of competitions. We had all these contacts with the then top, the architects. And I came to Pune and I saw there were 3 colleges that time, or in Pune University, 5 by the time we really. And we thought that students didn't have exposure to what is happening in the country, what architects are doing. So we thought that we should start a forum which is away from the system. It doesn't belong to any college. It has an auditorium. It is in the evening. So it's like a music class, or it is like a dance class, or it is like something else where anybody can join in the evening. It has nothing to do with the college timings. How do we sustain it? We said we will take money. It is like a magazine. So you pay for 10 lectures in a year. You like it, you continue next year. You don't like it, you don't continue. And we are completing 20 years this year. And it has been a movement. and there are many people who, and the students in particular, beyond the classroom. Now we have started calling this as the academic classroom. Feed the academic classroom, because we don't serve even a cup of tea. So you come, listen to the talk,
And
you
go
ask
your way.
questions, you deliberate, and you go. So that has been one of my 3 caps, I must say. I have this triangle, as it is called. I am in the field here, then I run the school and teach in the school, and I have my office.
Thank you so much once
Thank you,
again.
dear.
I think we have a lot of points to ponder.